So guys, welcome to this lesson. This lesson is just a continuation from the previous lesson, which was how to add CSS to HTML. And I just wanted us to talk about this little aspect of it, which is cascading, right? So that's what I just want to briefly talk about in this lesson. So we already talked about the different types of ways we can add our styling to our document, right? External, internal, and inline. The question now is that what if we have the same styling for an element defined externally, internally, and inline? Which one would be used to style the element or the document? And that's what we want to talk about. So this brings an issue or a topic that we want to call the cascading order. And CSS, as we know, it stands for cascading style sheet, and this is where the cascading comes from. So all the styles in a page will cascade into a new virtual style sheet, right? And it uses the following rules, right? And these rules are in priority, right? So the first priority is the first one that's going to use, then it's going to fall back to the second one and the third priority. So the first one is inline style. So the inline style is the style that we talked about, the ones inside the elements, right? And those are the styles that are going to be used first, right? If you have all the different types of styles in your document, the one that's going to be used to style your element is going to be your inline styling, right? And those are the ones in your element. Then it's gonna the second one in priority is your external and internal style sheets, right? So all the styles in your external or your internal styles will now be the ones that will be used. So if we had both of these in your style sheet, which one is going to be used will depend on, and it's gonna depend on the value of the last red style sheet, right? So we define these in your head section of your document, right? You define the link to your styles, and if you're using the external CSS, or we just put the styles in the style uh, block of your head section, right? So whichever one comes first, uh, will be in that in it would be looked at. So if you put the external one and then you read the style beneath it, the one that is the last red style sheet will be the one that is used. So we are going to take a look at that when we take a look at an example, right? And so that's the second one. The third one is going to be the default styles, right, that the browser gives you. So anytime you put in an element, say p, right? By default, the browser gives you a kind of styling, right? It gives you a black text with some font, right? So those ones are default. So that's your last priority. So we will take a look at a few examples just to see how these cascading works. Okay, so I still have the example that we used in our previous lesson, and that's what we're going to use. So this is how the formatting looks like right now. We have the header, which is white, the margin 50, and then we have the body having the H1 and P with styling, right? So we are going to look at how this works. So I'm going to include the link to the style sheet, copy this, and I'm going to just put this in here. So we have all three types. So we have the external, we have the internal, and then we have, and maybe I should use the H because that is. So I'm gonna put a style in the header and I'm gonna say color is equal to. So let's say the color is sorry, what am I doing? Style, and in here I'm gonna say color, and I'm gonna assign a color that is maybe green. Okay, good. So we have the H1 with color white, H1 that has been signed color green, and I have my external style sheet here. And in here, I'm gonna open it up and assign H1 color brown, which is it might not show. So I'm gonna change this color and say blue, blue. Okay, so this will show. So back to my HTML. You can see here that now we have all three types of CSS in here, right? We have our external, which defines our H1 to be aqua color, right? Okay. And then we have this one, which is the internal, having H1 having a white, which is what we currently have. And then we have our inline having a green color. So when I refresh this, you can see that it always takes the last loaded uh, style, right? So it loaded this, but then it came here and said, oh no, H1 is now white. And then it came here and says H1, what is it? It's green. So that's why it loaded it. So I'm just gonna remove this style here. And so now we have just these two. So if I refresh this, we have it as white. Because even though this was set to blue, right, this was loaded most recently, right? So, and that is white, and that's why you have this, right? And so that's how the cascading works. It's in general, just know that uh, the last one to load is the one that will take effect. So just as an example, and I haven't tried this before, but let me, if I put this right here and I refresh this, nice. You can see that it used the styling in the style sheet. And we can see it because we use the color blue, right? And that's why it merged, because this color, and maybe I should use red, or maybe I should just take out this color, sorry. Let me just remove this color. Okay, so if I refresh this now, you see that it's blue. So it used the last loaded color, right? Which is the one in the style sheet, right? So that's how the cascading part works. Again, just as reference, inline styles first, external or the internal styles next, depending on which is loaded last in the head section, and then the browser default. So the browser default is basically what the browser comes with. So this was just a lesson that I created just to explain cascading to you. So thank you guys for watching and see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.